All right, Jay, now you can talk. I know that was the most painful couple minutes of your entire life, having to not talk.
Oh my God, it kills me every single time because you're just like, okay, don't talk. And instantly I'm like,
I'm like, what?
don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do.
You're not my boss. You're not my dad. Happy Father's Day, everyone. I hope you guys are having a good day. Jay, how was your Father's Day?
It was absolutely amazing. My wife and I went with our two kids and the in-laws and brother-in-law, sister-in-law, and their kids and everything, and went out to the lake today. And I apologize for not picking up your messages earlier, but we were down in
Ignoring
the
me.
valley. We were down in the valley. It was phenomenal because my cell phone didn't ring for like 5 hours.
Oh,
So
that's
it was
great.
glorious. And then I come out and I had 45 missed messages. So, a dad's work is never done, especially when he's running a digital marketing company. So lots going on, but it was great to get away for a little bit.
Oh, I'm so glad, though. I'm so glad. Let's go. Hi, how are you? Thank you for stopping by the stream. I appreciate it. Um, okay, guys. So today we're kind of going to be talking about the best dads in gaming and in video games. I also think I might want to mention like the worst ones as well. We can think of some pretty bad ones. All that comes to mind is like Heavy Rain. J5 says Happy Father's Day, Jay.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there listening.
Yes, for sure. My Father's Day was uneventful. I lived so far from my dad. I had called him, but he was in the middle of having breakfast with my brother, and then they had like movie plans afterwards. So he's like, yeah, okay, I'll talk to you later. I'm like, thanks, Dad. I'm like, I love you. I hope you're having fun. Whatever, fun without me.
Wait, but did you get him anything?
His birthday is June 2, so usually we send like a whole bunch of gifts like around June-ish, just so he gets like a bunch of different gifts throughout the month. So, yeah.
So what did you get him?
A bunch of gaming stuff. He always breaks his controllers. Like I don't know why. Like every year we have to get him not through rage. Like he just pushes down
Wait,
on like
he's
the
a rage
stick.
quitter?
No, not through rage. He pushes
Oh,
down
okay,
on like
okay.
the stick like way too much. Like way too much. Like it ends up breaking. So we got him like these little grip thingies. I don't know. Aaron looked it up. I bought it. I was just like, here you go, Dad. We got him like a little brown skin for his controller because he loves the browns. Rip, like absolute pain. Yeah, I will definitely hit you up on Discord after the podcast for sure. He's basically like, you're my least favorite. Let me spend time with my favorite kid. Oh, you're so mean. You're so mean. No, well, actually, no. I think Aaron is my dad's favorite. I think I'm my mom's favorite. So happy Mother's Day.
I really wish we were better prepared for this because I would love to be able to get your dad on the phone right now and ask him if which one of his kids are the favorite.
Yeah, I don't think he'd answer. He's like so like sweet. Like he's such like a kind-hearted guy. He would never answer, but it's Aaron for sure. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for sure. But yeah, we can kick it off. Jay, who is your favorite dad? Like video game dad?
Um, so when we were talking about this earlier, I went through like a massive laundry list of like names, and then I started Googling and like who is it on, but I think I'm gonna stick with my initial first reaction character. An OG, because I thought about Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. I thought about all kinds of, even like some obscure ones. Like I started thinking about some minor characters if I could think of like their dads and stuff. But I kept thinking it was hilarious to have my ultimate gaming dad be Bowser.
Oh yeah?
And the reason
Why?
why is okay, so take out the kidnapping and the attempted murder. So take all of that out.
Just ignore
And
that.
just ignore that. So if we can work our way past this, I'm thinking Bowser because he's a single dad. He
Oh,
owns his own business. He got how many kids does he have? 6, 7, 8, 9? Like 8 kids? They're all involved in the family business. He's trying to teach them the ways. He's trying to teach them to be able to take over. I think if you get past the kidnapping and the attempted murder and everything, I think Bowser's got to win for Dad trying to, just do his hardest to be able to raise his kids in such a hard world.
Oh my god, you're so funny. Someone mentioned Kratos, which I was gonna bring up. Obviously that's like one that hits home, but for me, I'm in between two now. Since you're saying we can put like terrible things aside, I'm in between two. They're both from my favorite video game, BioShock. So my first pick was gonna be Mark Meltzer. Spoilers ahead for BioShock, so if you don't want to watch it, please leave. So in BioShock 2, his daughter gets taken away, and she becomes like a little sister. And so pretty much he like goes under, into Rapture trying to find her the entire time. And he ends up giving up his life to become a big daddy just so he can spend the rest of his life with his daughter. And like, obviously, am I muted? Or are you? Oh.
No, just tears coming down. Very, very involved story. And I think that kind of goes back with, and obviously Kratos and that is kind of the dad that everyone thinks of right now. But it kind of goes back to, like, think about the story that you just told. It goes back to some of the earlier podcasts we did about like how cinematic and how in-depth stories are.
Yeah.
Like, mine is just some jackass comment of like, oh, Bowser, her, and yours is just like, and then you come up sit there and just be like, okay, look, so he does this and then he has to do this and it's a big tearjerker and he does it for the love of his daughter and the love of his kids and the love of, everything else. Just how much more involved and how much, this is true, Titanic storyline of like love lines and like the redemption arcs that characters go through now.
Yeah, no, for sure. I have seen when I was Googling like best and worst dads, like just to see what other people thought, Bowser was on there. So you're not wrong. What I was gonna say is also from BioShock, another spoiler from the first one, Andrew Ryan. I don't know if I should go into specifics, but if we're putting away, like murder and like being a terrible person in general, as a father, I think he was a pretty good father. If you guys want spoilers to explain that, I can. I just don't know if I should. But, so we're talking strictly dads. It's Father's Day! Yes! Well, you know what? Father figures are good. Oh my god, all of mine are from BioShock. Okay, actually, it's kind of the worst. Worst gaming dads.
So Bowser, he is a kidnapper. He is also an attempted murderer. He's a single dad, which means, he probably did some immoral things and his wife left him or, whatever it is. So no, I'd say the worst dad is also Bowser. It's pretty easy to be able to put that out there. He's putting his child in endangerment. I don't know where OSHA is, but they're clearly not showing up at their work location. His business needs to be shut down. So no, hands down, the worst dad of all time is still Bowser.
No, you have to pick someone else. You have to pick someone else. That was wild. You can fight both arguments there. I'll give you time.
Absolutely. You can do wait, hang on. But you can do the same thing with Kratos, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, when everyone brought it up the first time, I was kind of like, I see it, but then I don't see it at the same time for him. But
yeah, he took Bring Your Son to Work Day like to a whole nother level. Like, okay, yeah, come on. It's go grab the axe and the sword and the bow and arrow and everything. Cool, let's go fight these monsters and go fight these gods and everything. It'll be fine. You get lunch in the cafeteria. It's okay.
So my answer might be bringing it back a little bit. I don't know if you guys have ever played Heavy Rain. His name is like Ethan something, but the protagonist that you play in that game, dude, he's the worst dad ever, man. I forgot his name. Let me Google. I was gonna say Mathis. It's Ethan Mars. Yeah. 10 out of 10, worst dad. What do you guys think? Do you guys have a best or worst dad? I'm trying to go through the list now. I forgot that Michael from GTA 5 was a dad. I totally forgot.
Well, it kind of instead of being like a part of the main storyline and stuff, it's just kind of like he's a dad, and then they just kind of move on.
Oh, should we talk about the best dad, probably? Heavy Rain's such a... Yes, oh my god. Heavy Rain is such a tough... It's just a tough game in general. I forgot, Joel from Last of Us. Yes!
Oh, wow.
Gator, we're on the same... Evan, we are on the same wavelength. Yes, so that's one of the best dads. Even for, like... Even though Ellie isn't his daughter, like, even to his daughter, he was such a good dad, and then he took over that role. Ayo, yes, we're twinning right now. Let me go down the list a little bit more, see who we forgot. Oh, people...
There's gotta be some obscure dad that we're not thinking of. There's gotta be some random...
Well, you're the out-of-the-box character here, Jay. That's not me or James. You gotta come out. I mean, you came up with Bowser, so I don't know. I'm trying to look through. So someone said, Chuck Green from Dead Rising. Also, Lee Everett from The Walking Dead. I could see that. I haven't played through The Walking Dead.
I haven't either.
Rip Joel's daughter, dude. That whole, like, Last of Us 2 is just so heartbreaking. I think Heavy Rain is too. He had a daughter for like 20 minutes in the beginning. Oh my god, jeez, get out of here. Ellie was his daughter going forward. I don't want to hear it.
Oh my god, that's fantastic. Okay, so not to poo-poo on your Google research right now, but just random question. What is the best piece of advice your dad has ever given you in real life? So I know we're kind of talking about gaming, but what's the best piece of fatherly advice you've ever gotten?
There are a couple things. My dad's like such a sweetheart. Like he has such a big heart. So most of it's just like pretty much like do whatever makes you happy. Like he's the kind of guy that will literally support me through whatever I want to do kind of guy. He doesn't necessarily like... Him and my mom know that they raised us well, so they're not the kind to try to interject. Like they'll tell us their opinions, but they don't ever like tell me to do something because they trust me. But when I was younger, I remember I was just walking home one day with both my headphones in. He saw me that one day and never again, dude. He pulled me aside and he goes, nope, you cannot do that. When you are alone, you have to take one headphone out. And you know, when you're younger, you don't think about that kind of stuff, you know? But unfortunately, in this kind of world, we kind of have to. Best piece of advice my dad has ever given me, shut up. Jason, that's true. You should shut up more. So that makes sense. What about you? What do you think is the best advice you've given? And what about your dad? Oh,
well, you know, and I think I've talked about it a couple of times before, is I'm a high school football coach. I do secondary for a high school here for freshmen. And so they're really at that kind of weird stage, you know, 8th grade into freshman. You know, they're trying to figure life out. They're starting to kind of become more independent. And so really, I always feel like I'm a dad to not only my 2 kids, but also the 35 guys that I have for me. And then I coach arena football, and it's kind of the same role, but just the dudes are in their 20s. And so it goes from like, hey, coach, what did you used to do when you liked a girl? To like the arena football guys where they're like, hey, coach, so my daughter or my son is having problems with blah, blah, blah. Like, what can you do? And I always thought it was because of my sage-like advice, but I think it's because I've got gray growing in my beard now that people are like, oh, he's old as shit. You know, he probably knows everything now because he's been around for a while. But, you know, I personally, and just to overshare a little bit, is in my athletic career and then also in my work career, you know, I had a tendency to put in a lot of hours. I would ignore people. Like I'd really get involved in like, you know, especially in the startup world and everything. And I went hunting with my dad and my father-in-law, my brother-in-law and that. And we went hunting, and I ended up having to come off the mountain early because I had a conference call that I had to make. And so I had to like bring my dad off the mountain. We're out hunting elk, bring him back to base camp. I had to go down to the store, get Wi-Fi, like hop onto the call and do it. And we get back there and I'm like, all right, cool. You know, we're done let's get back to the hunt and stuff. He goes, what are you doing? I go, what are you talking about? He goes, so the backstory is my dad was in the military for 23 years. He was deployed all the time, like every 6 months. He was back out in like Desert Storm in Afghanistan and all these other places, Bosnia. And he sits down and we're like drinking coffee and he sits down to me and he goes, so, and it's the only time that I've ever seen my dad like come really close to crying. Never actually seen my dad cry. Really close though. And he goes, look, he goes, I missed most of your life growing up. And he looked me dead in the eye and he goes, Jay, I don't want you to be like me. He goes, don't make the same mistakes I did. He goes, your family is more important and your babies will be out of the house before you realize it. And you are never going to be able to repair those bridges with those you love after the fact. He goes, it's done. He goes, you'll be able to make it better. He goes, but you and I will never have the relationship we could have if I had been around more.
Yeah.
And that was the day actually that I made a massive career change and started working for myself and, figured out my exit plan and everything else. But yeah, that was kind of the best piece of advice. And, man, for the past couple of podcasts, I've been dropping some really big, like intense.
I feel like I don't know, Jay.
I think I'm supposed to keep this lighter, right?
No.
It's supposed to be fun.
I think that's what Jay wants. I don't think that's what we want. I think we need to do like a little separate podcast where we just go like deep dive, like emotions out, like trauma everywhere. But Jay does not James does not want that. James is like, let's steer, happy moments. But no, that's really...
we got to do like Delilah. I know you don't listen to the radio because you're too young, but there used to be this
Delilah.
lady...
I do know. Get out of here. I do know Delilah. Rude.
Where she comes in and she's like, guys, everyone's got relationship issues, and I just want to dedicate, this next song to all the people out there that are finding their love connection. You two will find it too. And it's like sitting on the dock of the bay, and you're like, oh, this is terrible.
Oh my god, for real. I was gonna say though, that's actually really good advice because I'm fortunate enough to not have to deal with that. My dad is very hardworking, but he always put us first. Same with my mom. Both very career driven, but know when to, separate time. But sadly today, I have asked multiple people what they were doing for Father's Day, and I would say over half of them told me that their dad was working or their dad was busy and they didn't get to hang out with them or see them and didn't plan anything. So it was actually super sad to hear that from so many people. I just didn't realize how fortunate I was, So just something to keep in mind for sure. We do have some comments in the chat for advice. My dad comes off as negative as he gets old, but I'll never forget when he told me to try to stay positive and take the good from life and run with it. Oh, I love that. I love that. It is really hard to stay positive sometimes, but sometimes that's the only thing you have left. You have to think of the good. That's what I've been doing lately. It's just trying so hard to focus on the good. I might be going numb just because I'm trying not to think about anything else, but sometimes you have to do that, James, it's emotions are bad. Emotions, yep, for sure. James is emotions aren't real. Jason.
Oh, see, okay, look, I'm about to drop some dad knowledge. I feel like as the dad representative out of the two of us, I'm gonna have to school some of you. I want to have to school some of you guys. Emotions are okay. Emotions, you have to have emotions, or it's just going to keep piling up and will blow up one day. Or you're going to suddenly wake up one day and wonder, why do I feel so heavy? Why am I so depressed? Why am I so, having this tidal wave of emotion all the time that you're holding back? And the challenge is if you don't confront them and learn to deal with your emotions and go through the healing process of a major traumatic incident or a grieving incident or anything like that, if you just focus on, I'm just going to work more, or I'm just going to stay focused on this, or I'm going to start this, that trauma, that issue, that incident, that situation you're never really going to heal from it, and you're never going to be able to put it behind you. So, from one dude to another,
One dude.
deal with your emotions. Whoever was watching in the chat who said that, deal with your emotions. It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to be, to show it. It's okay to be vulnerable. I'm not sure why, as a society, we have such an issue with dudes, having emotions and issues, and stiff upper lip and suck it up and be a man and man up and all those different phrases. And I've had to, as a dad, really make sure that I don't say, be a man or man up, just because I don't want my kids to have that same type of emotional baggage that my dad had.
Yeah, no, I love that you're teaching them that, because I really don't think that it's taught a lot. Like for me, I don't know, like I mean, obviously I'm kind of an emotional crybaby, but besides that, I'm always like, I can't remember where I had heard this analogy, but sometimes like when you're so scared of something and you avoid it, the problem only gets bigger. And the more you step away from it, it doesn't get smaller. It keeps getting bigger in your head because you've never confronted it and you've let it control your life. And so because it's such like a huge problem now, even though it's probably something small, it's like almost impossible for you to deal with it. So don't let yourself get into that headspace. And I think that because a lot of men especially are told that they're not allowed to have emotions, it like anything that upsets them, they just try to like avoid it, and then it just becomes so much of a bigger issue. I kind of laugh sometimes when I hear a guy's issue, but it's not fair because it's different to them. But like it's true, like if they've avoided that small thing for so long, it probably means a lot to them, even though to me I'm like, just deal with it, but like it's different for each person, and I shouldn't be so judgmental, you know what I mean? But
and I think you see guys channeling their emotions in very negative ways at times.
Yes.
Yes, I see it with a lot of, it comes out in domestic abuse. It comes out in fights at bars. It comes out in different ways, and that's how it kind of manifests when you don't have the ability to be able to speak through it and cope. Your body still has to release it somehow, and it's the dude that goes out on the Saturday night to a club that wants to start a fight in a parking lot at 3:00 in the morning. It's the guy who girlfriend says something or significant other says something and goes, and you just don't know where that like I just asked you to wire your shoes in the living room.
Yeah.
Fuck you, you can't blah blah blah, and you're just like, whoa, like holy hell, and that's where that kind of stuff like manifests from. If you can't be able to deal with your emotions and deal with negative situations that have either happened to you or are going on. And I'm the first one to do it. Like my wife knows when I'm under a lot of stress, because I blow up the kids randomly. Like I'll come down on my kids and be like, you know better than this and blah blah blah, and my wife will just be like, okay, you need to stop, and what's wrong? Like that's kind of like her indicators when that happens with me.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, even sometimes I have that issue. Not necessarily that I try to blow up, but if my anxiety is bad, don't talk to me. Do not talk to me, because any like small thing, I'll just like get really frustrated about it, and I'll be like, leave me the fuck alone. But good advice from Jay. Just be able to express your feelings. And if someone doesn't appreciate you expressing your feelings, then they're not the person that you should be around. Point blank, period. It's as easy as that, I think.
Well, you've heard about the philosophy where you're the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most, right?
I've never heard that, but yeah, I've heard that you are who you're around, and I wholeheartedly believe that.
Yeah, so if you were to look at the 5 people you spend the most time with, that you work with, and it can be at your job, it can be hobbies, it can be your parents, it can be your cat that just jumped down. You are you are the sum of those 5 people, and if you don't have a good group of 5 people around you, if someone's toxic, if the situation that they're coming from is toxic, and I'm not saying like they're a good person in a bad situation toxic, I'm like, they just suck as a person. You really are the sum of those 5 people, and good people need to have good people around them, or they'll easily slide down that kind of
Yeah.
negative path.
I 100% agree with that. Like, it's really hard to keep a positive mindset when no one else is positive around you, you know? Jason said, my dad never showed emotion except for anger, and I hated it. He didn't support me when I tried to either, so I used to bottle them up. I'd throw myself into work and avoid having to deal with it. It wasn't until I moved out and had an ex-girlfriend really help me open up and deal with my emotions. That's really good. So here's another thing, and I feel like people look at relationships like if it doesn't work out as a waste of time, and I don't like that. I think that each person that you have, like, you can still cherish the memories that you had with them and the experience that you had with them, and you can still grow as a person and just learn more about yourself and what you want in your future, you know? So I'm so glad that you had someone in your life that, you know, took the time to help you with that stuff, you know?
Well, and you can have two amazing people that just don't work. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people that, you know, we've in this weird, like, kind of culture thing of like, oh, what did he do? Oh, he's such an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, no, it could just
that.
be that he's his own person and she's her own person, and they met at the wrong time in their lives. Or it could be something where they're just not quite compatible as, you know, someone who you want to spend the rest of your life with. But you can still have that kind of connection with a person, which is, I'm blown away that our culture can't have like nuances inside of relationships and breakups.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's another thing is like, I completely, I don't know. I think relationships are getting healthier, or people are starting to learn how to have healthier relationships, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I think it's like a lot of people just go with like when you first meet and you get along and that's like love. But there just is so much more to it that to really make something work. And if it doesn't work, like I said, it's a learning lesson. You learn what you need from that person. They learn that from you. Hopefully you guys can be friends and you just move on with your life and you just become a better person for it, you know? So
yeah, absolutely.
we had another comment. They said, my father always showed emotion and showered me with it as a kid, so now I always show emotion too. That's so good. I'm so glad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad to hear that, because so many times I hear the opposite, like Jason's story, and it just like rips me to shreds. Like, I was so lucky that my dad is so emotional, and my mom isn't as emotional, but she's like very level-headed, so I think that they both kind of help me manage mine, even though I'm more of a crybaby. I am kind of like my dad. But, you know, I understand my emotions like my mom. Like, my dad will sometimes cry and he doesn't understand what's going on, versus my mom like always knows what's happening in her head, you know? So I got the best of both worlds with that, you know?
Oh, that's a fantastic. Like I said, like there's some weird stigma about men crying and being able to confront their emotions, and you know, you can only cry if your buddy dies in a movie, or if your dog dies, or if you've won a sports championship. Those are the only acceptable times, at least when I was growing up, that men can cry.
Yeah, which is so weird. I mean, I guess we don't have to get too much into it, but a lot of gender stereotypes are just weird to me. But we don't have to go that deep, you know.
But I do agree with you that the gender stereotypes are changing, whether old white people like to admit it or not. You know, the boomer generation, you know, luckily they're on their way out, because a lot of what they did was just incredibly toxic all the time. You know, from dinner needs to be on the table at 5:30 and you need to stay home and you know, wash my clothes, and I want to make I mean, you know, and the crazy thing is you look at it and you think, oh, it's so old school. Like, dude, those people are all still alive. Like, they grew up, like, they're only in their 60s, you know, 70s, and that was still very prevalent in the 50s, 60s, and into the 70s, and I think 80s, maybe it kind of started changing a little bit. That's not that long ago, guys.
Yeah.
I know it feels long. And Jordan, I know it's like ancient history and like studying in textbooks.
Watching our stream, so you can talk to them like that, not me, sir. Not me. But yeah, no, I completely agree that a lot of things are just like, that's why it's just hard for me, like if someone is set in those ways, like, not saying like I don't know, like obviously I want to stream and that could technically be considered stay at home, but I'll always want to have a passion. I'll always want to pursue that, and I want a partner who is also passionate, wants to pursue whatever they want, and us be a team. And there are a lot of people who don't want that, men and women, who would rather have like regular, more conservative type of relationships, which is fine, that works for them, but I don't know, like I would never be like me and Tyler like split everything, you know, when we were together. Like I've always, like since day one, have like paid for movie dates or paid for the popcorn or whatever, just because like I never wanted him to think like I'm using him for that or he's only around for that reason. It's just not my style. And whenever I did like date a guy who like insisted on paying every time, I didn't like that. Just because to me, it just didn't feel right. Like we are both adults that can take care of each other, not just ourselves, but like I want to take care of you if I'm invested in you. Just like I want you to be able to take care of me, you know? So we did have another comment. My cat is adorable. Thank you. I love him so much. They came out of a very abusive relationship a couple years ago, but never regret it because it made me who I am today, helped me grow as a person. Now I'm really good in a relationship and we show so much emotion. That's so sweet. Anxious Peach, I can't talk. I'm so glad. I had something very similar. The reason that I moved out to Arizona was to get away from my abusive ex. I don't think I've ever said that on stream before. And
we need to drag him out in the parking lot, kick the shit out of him.
I wish.
Hey, I have airline miles. I can travel.
Anyway, so yeah, and then I moved here and I met Tyler, and like I was so scared of trusting anyone, and I just got so lucky that even though, you know, Tyler and I aren't, you know, gonna work out, it just taught me that like he taught me so much of like trusting people again, especially trusting like men again, because there's no one in this world that I trust more than Tyler. I trust him like with my life. Like he's such a good person, and I didn't think I'd ever feel that way ever again. So yeah, like I said, they're lessons, and you know, my previous relationship taught me what not to do and how not to be toxic, and this one taught me how to like love, and you know, so like I said, you go through like your different lessons through life, and it's good to just take that in instead of like regretting being with someone or thinking that you wasted your time, or like don't think negatively about it. Just think about whatever you can do better next time, etc., you know?
Right.
We'll take all toxic exes and put them on an island together and let them fend for themselves. Yeah, they'll all probably be getting drunk and like fighting each other to the death.
I bet you we could get DraftKings to put some numbers on it. We can make a little pool out of it and get some wagers on people. That'd be awesome.
I think that would be illegal, but you know, make it a TV show. That's what Jason just said. Oh my god. Reality TV. Oh my god. Most of them being narcissists would probably love that, honestly.
It'll be Australia too.
I have an ex I can add. Oh my gosh, that's what I was talking about. So, I met a new friend. We were talking on Discord. He goes, you know, like, I'm so surprised that you went through something like that. Like, you're so positive. You're so nice. I can't believe someone did that, especially to you. And those were the kind of words that they were using, like, especially to you. And I'm like, one, it's happened to almost every female that I know, which is kind of insane. Like, I would say, like, 4 out of 5, I've heard stories. But also, like, even if you're a bad person, even if you're not the best spouse, and I'm talking about men too, like if anyone ever lays their hands on you or is toxic towards you, like that's not okay. You know what I mean? Like even if you are a bad spouse, it doesn't matter. No one should
unless
ever
you're
put their
into
hands on. That's different. That's consensual. I'm talking about non-consensual. You know, I'm talking. Yeah, we're talking non.
Remember, kids, always have a safe word.
Kids.
And always make sure you get consent ahead of time.
That sounds so bad. Yes, consent is sexy. Consent is attractive. James is gonna hate us. James is gonna scream at us so much.
This is what happens. He's like, what happened to you? You guys are supposed to be talking about like gaming characters. You guys had a therapy session, and then like some S&M talk and everything else. It went off the rails.
Yeah.
I'd be like, don't leave us next time.
Yeah, don't leave us. If you were here, we wouldn't be talking. You know, he would have steered the conversation like a long time ago.
He's so much more mature than we are.
Hey, I think we're just more, you know, open. He's just more closed. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, if the chat has any dad questions right now, as a certified dad, please throw questions.
Can I get your certificate? Can we see the proof?
It's over there.
Okay.
I'll have to get it later.
Later.
Can't move the camera. But yeah, I got certified. You know, my son came out and they said, "Hey, congratulations! You're authorized to tell dad jokes.
Oh,
You are
love
now
that.
allowed to wear white New Balance shoes and jorts.
Jorts.
You're allowed to be very concerned about your yard, and you're allowed to embarrass your children when they hit 12 years old, right before they become a teenager." And I was like, oh my God, please don't give me this kind of power. And they gave me a card and a little certificate, and
cute.
officially became a dad, so now I can tell dad jokes.
Oh, yeah. I officially became a cat mom. I don't know what that gives me. Maybe weird cat lady issues, probably.
Cat lady starter pack.
Yes, cat lady starter pack. No one is allowed to touch this thermostat too, don't forget.
And they also activate a gene that allows you to know when the thermostat's been changed.
Oh my God. You're so funny. Oh, you guys are a trip. Well, Jay, I know that James said we could cut this early. Is there anything else that you want to say for Happy Father's Day?
No, but I would like to end it on my favorite dad joke that I've heard lately. Are you ready for this one?
What?
When does a joke become a dad joke?
When you're old?
When it becomes a parent.
Oh, so mean! That was a good one. I'm sorry. I'm so mean. Strax says Happy Father's Day. Also, we have a comment. What did you have as a child that kids don't have today? For me, it would be VCRs.
Are we talking philosophical? Or are we talking like difference in society? Or are we talking things? Because I told my son, and I don't know if I told this story on the podcast or not, but I went I was doing something with my son, and oh my God, what was it? Oh, I go, hang up the phone. He goes, what? And he goes, and I go, hang up the phone. He goes, Dad, what does hanging up a phone have to do with anything? And I go,
you didn't know?
What do you mean? No. Okay, think about it. Think about where that phrase came from.
Yeah.
He was asking me basically where did the phrase came from. And I had to go on YouTube and show it, which is dumb now that I'm saying it. So I had to show him like what an old school phone, like how you used to actually, when it was, even before my time, kids, I know I look old, but even before my time, when the phone was on the wall and the original receiver that you had to hang it up to be able to disconnect a call.
Ow. Sorry. Wow, I can't believe he didn't know that. You know what? I've had kids not know what a VCR was though. So.
Oh, my kids found my wife's old like tapes, like her old like Captain Hook and like all these things, and we're like, oh my God, I remember these things. And my daughter goes, what are these? And I just died a little bit inside. And I was like, why don't you go down and go stream Disney Plus? Leave me alone. Let me go cry over here in the corner.
Yeah, I've been gaming lately, and anyone on video games, they could be like any age. So I've had 13-year-olds call me super old. That was fun. Like, I've even had like 19-year-olds be like, oh my God, you're so old. I'm like, thank you, I appreciate it. Feels good, man. Feels good to be on the internet in this day and age. Jay, I had someone comment the other day that I had a lazy eye. Like on my stream, just in front of everyone, was like, hey guys, look at her lazy eye. I'm like, what? Like new insecurity unlocked. I don't think I do, but maybe I do. Maybe it's the lights, because the lights kind of hurt my eyes. I don't know. Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that.
Now I'm just gonna stare at you and try to figure out if you actually do have a lazy eye.
I don't know, dude. It was harsh. People are harsh. Anyways, happy Father's Day, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this crazy short podcast. I apologize, James, from the bottom of my heart, just a little bit, that you'll have to deal with this later.
Hey James, I just want to apologize for my immaturity. At least I didn't tell any dick jokes. So I'm really excited, really proud of myself. And I'm trying to think of anything else I could potentially throw out there that you're going to have to edit out of this podcast later.
Oh, we love making his life hell. Well, have a good night, everyone. I might be streaming a little bit later. I should probably be packing though instead, so never mind. I probably won't be streaming later, but you guys will see my face very, very soon. I hope that you all have a good night. I love you very much. Bye.